Hey guys, how we doing? It's Barstool RDT here with Barstool Banks. We are coming to you live. It is the night of the first night of the Sweet 16. Terps playing about what is it, an hour and a half? It seems like this game has been planned for a while. I've been waiting all day for it. I know Banks has. Villanova and Miami are playing right now. But yeah, like I said, we got Sweet 16 going on tonight. Terps took down South Dakota State last week, and then Hawaii on Sunday, which was a more challenging game than I thought it would be. I'm not sure how Banks feels about it, but it was an interesting game. The Terps got through it. They kind of battled through, had a little run. It was like a 2 or 3 minute run, got through the game, and here they are. They're facing the overall number one seed Kansas. Take them on at 9:40 tonight, which should be. I mean, it's. I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's going to be a tough game, but here the Terps are in their first Sweet 16 in 13 years. Banks, what do you got on this game? How do you feel about this?
Pretty nervous, but I've done a pretty good job all week of kind of talking myself into thinking that the Maryland's going to roll them. I wouldn't say roll them, but they're going to play a really great game. And also the fact that I feel like there's a feeling among Terps fans or among really everyone across the country that Maryland doesn't really belong in the same court as Kansas. And we're talking about a team that was ranked in the top 5 for probably 75% of the season. So talent-wise, everybody knows that Maryland is more talented than Kansas. I think that's pretty much agreed upon. It's just Kansas is a little more cohesive. So it's just a matter of whether the Terps want to show up and whether they want to finally rise to the occasion. So,
yeah, I agree. Like you were saying with talent, I think they're above Kansas, if not, if Kansas. I mean, they're good, but I think Maryland has more talent on the team, 1 through 5. Even if you want to dip down in the bench a little bit, I don't think it would surprise anyone if Maryland came out and beat them because, like you said, Maryland was top 3, top 5 pretty much the entire year until the last few weeks. Them, absolutely, I think they can. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't think it would surprise a lot of people. Do I think they'll beat them? That's another story. It depends on what team we get. If we get the team that kind of sleptwalked through the first half against Hawaii, this game could be over very quick. Kansas has the experience of some guys. Bill Self is a great coach. He's a great recruiter, a great in-game coach. He can do it all. But if Maryland plays that defense that they played since the halftime of the Michigan State game, I mean, they've been pretty money when they've been playing on defense. The offense has to be there. I think I saw that Melo's 1 for 10 shooting threes in the tournament. That has to change. It has to change more. He's been more, aggressive going towards the hoop in the tournament, which I like. So if he can get that going, he maybe get some fouls on Kansas. I know people want to see Diamond Stone get going against Kansas and kind of get him started early because it seems like if he gets started early, the Terps they can kind of roll from not roll, but they can keep track from there. I think this is the first to get to 65 or 70 points. I know both teams are pretty good defensively. I think it should be a great game. I'm hoping Maryland pulls it out. I'm kind of leaning towards Kansas. I don't want to be, but if I'm being a realist, I'm going Kansas in this one.
I think that Maryland's actually, if they play a close game, I think they're going to pull it out. I think they're going to. I mean, they have a lot of experience over the last 2 years of playing so many tight games, and it hasn't really gone their way the last month or so. But I think that they're finally turning the corner. They're starting to believe in themselves. Like I said, Melo's had a lot more confidence. Even if that jumper isn't falling, he's knowing when to defer to other guys, and Jake Layman's being aggressive. So I think that first half against Hawaii was pretty shaky, and I think that they learned some lessons from it. I am afraid to say that I think we'll know which direction the game's headed in the first few minutes. I could be wrong there, but I think what's happened, at least in the Hawaii game, they just came out kind of nervous and kind of deer in the headlight looks against a team that they just outclassed completely. So they really just got to hit the glass hard. I just want to see some really hard-nosed effort from the guys, and I think that the shots will fall tonight. I think we're due for, after going 1 of 18 or whatever it was in that game. I think if they just shoot See, they're shooting 37% on the year from three. If they just make 25% of those 18% or 18 shots, then that game was never close, and ends up being a 20 to 25 point win. And people are probably talking about how dangerous Maryland is, as opposed to them being, at least when the lines opened this week, they were the longest odds to make the Final Four. So just to kind of put things in perspective.
The line kind of switched, I think, this afternoon. Not switched, but it was moving this afternoon. I think it went down to 5.5.
That's
what I saw.
It's been moving all day. The money's been so heavy on Kansas, and usually if the money's heavy on one side, the line will increase. But it went the opposite way. It kind of reminds me of the Super Bowl line, actually, is where Vegas kind of put a line out there, and it didn't budge no matter how much money got put on the favorite. And they turned out to be right about that one. That's why Vegas knows. So hopefully that they're right on this one. I mean, I know that it's a spread. It's not a who's going to win the game outright, but it's still a sign of good things. They're that confident in Maryland's ability to not only to cover the spread, then you got to think that they're going to be right there in it.
Yeah. No, but going back to what you were saying about the rebounding, I think I read earlier that Maryland gives up like 30% of their possessions or offensive rebounds from the other team. That's
disgusting.
Hawaii, this may be the image that lasts with me the longest from this year, is the guy on Hawaii laying on the floor and the rebound falling right to him, and he gets it and shovels the ball off for an assist. He got an assist while he was lying on the goddamn ground, and he got an offensive rebound. That's unbelievable that no Maryland player could grab that. And that seems to be the story all year is, they were out rebounded, in this game, and they were out offensive rebound in this game. And it's, if you could just grab some of these boards, and they have to, they have size, but we've talked about it before, how they have the size, but they're not that good at rebound. Robert Carter Jr. is not a good rebounder. Diamond Stone is not a good rebounder. Maybe in a few years, maybe in 2 or 3 years down the road. But they, it's these guys, I feel like Melo is a good rebounder for a guard.
He is a good rebounder for a guard.
His size, you find him around the ball a lot coming off. But you can't count on Melo. You can't count on Melo to get these boards. You need your big guys. You need your horses down low. And I thought Dodd did a decent game. He had a decent game last game against Hawaii with the blocks and the rebounds. But
yeah,
you gotta, especially a team like Kansas, if you're not out rebounding them, this game's gonna be over at halftime, and they'll run you out of the gym. Bill Self has no problem, running you out of the gym. Selden's gonna put you on a poster, and we'll see a completely different team next year. This year will be over. So,
as for this game ahead of us, I'm watching pretty much every shot fall. So I don't know what's up with the ball. I don't know. The Nets are discussing. Everyone's talking about it on Twitter right now, but I just watched a Villanova kid make a 3-pointer at the end of the shot clock from the center court logo. So it was like a good 30-plus feet. But I don't know. Maybe it's a good sign that these guys are going to come out chucking, and there's a lot of points to be had out there. I think that if they get into a shootout, I think Maryland is the team that will come out ahead there. So.
Yeah, you just got to hope that, look, we've talked about him all year. I feel like every podcast we talk about it. If Layman's hitting his shots, then this game could go Maryland's way easily, because it's the last month, he's been absolutely money. He's been hitting. If Melo can hit some threes, and I talked about at the beginning, he's been off. If Melo can hit some threes, if you can get a guy like Nickens to give maybe 9 or 12 points, that's another key right there. Nickens sitting in the corner kind of waiting for his shot. I would like our chances in a shootout too. I just think we have to, if you offensive rebound and can kick it back out to a guy wide open on the three, I'll take, if they miss those, I'll take that. That's fine. But if they just have to get these shot opportunities. So I don't think Maryland's going to get run out of the gym. I think it's going to be a good game. And I think Maryland, they could easily win this. So I even heard, I don't know how you feel about this. Someone on the radio earlier said that they want to start DeMonte Dodd over Stone to kind of get a defensive tone going. Maybe have Dodd block a shot or two, grab a big offense or grab a rebound, and kind of get that kick started to start the game off. I don't know how you would feel about that.
I don't hate that idea. Ultimately, they're each going to get a lot of minutes. I read something this week, or I was looking at the stats this week. Diamond's only averaging 22 minutes a game this year. It's not like, even if whether he's starting or he's not starting, I know that his minutes were a lot more limited at the beginning of the year, but it's not like you're tying yourself into one player playing 30 minutes and the other playing 10. They're going to be rotated in and out, I'm sure, based on foul trouble, and whoever's on the floor for Kansas is going to dictate a lot of those things. So I don't disagree with coming out with that defensive mentality. I just think that Diamond brings that much more to the table than Dodd, that he needs to be in there off the bat. And I think I would like to see him get 30 minutes tonight, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I was going to say I think 28 to like 31, 32 minutes
A lot of
Diamond
people
would be a great sign.
A lot of people are saying that Diamond is like the key. He's not necessarily the key to the game, but he's the one player who could really go off and really exploit a weakness. I mean, he put up 39 against. I know it was against Penn State, but he's dominated a game more than anyone else has on Maryland. So if he has one of his games, then and I'd really like to see them work inside out. I feel like when they were really playing well against, I think it was Nebraska in the Big Ten tournament, the reason they were getting so many open shots and they're playing so well is because they were playing inside out. It's been a frustrating thing to watch all year when Robert Carter and Diamond Stone, to their credit, I mean, they even have great field goal percentages and they get the ball to the rim well. But when you can, throw the ball into those guys and they can kind of, find guys in the corner and defenses have to respect that, then it just makes them that much more dangerous.
Yeah, I agree. And both those guys have offensive games where you may see them get double teamed if they get the ball down low. They may, bring a guard in and try and pester him, and he can easily kick it out to Jake, Mello, or Nickens, or Suleiman, someone like that. Even a guy like Brantley. And hopefully, they can sink the shot if it gets there. Yeah, I kind of hope that this isn't a game where Carter falls in love with the three. I feel like sometimes teams give him a three early, and he'll take it, and he'll be if he makes it, I feel like he falls in love with it every time. He's that guy at the gym that if he makes a shot, his first one, he's shooting every time the ball's in his hands.
I've kind of looked at the statistics a little bit, and he makes more than you think he makes. It's so easy to get frustrated because he doesn't look like he should be shooting those, that you just remember the misses and you get really mad at them. But you gotta at least consider the fact that every single one he's taking is an open one. Like, he's never going to take a contested one. Yeah, so his percentage is going to be higher than I guess you might think. But that's what makes it a good shot. And I think that a lot of people are against the Robert Carter three, and I'm not necessarily against it. He does seem to take one of those threes at inopportune times, and those are the ones he seems to miss. But, you take the good with the bad with that kind of thing. He really just needs to hit the defensive glass hard. I think that some of those bigs, they just get too deep in. They actually are so focused on trying to get to the rim and find a spot on the floor to then box somebody out that they dig too deep under the rim. It seems like it's those long rebounds that we aren't able to get. So
yeah, they put themselves in a position where they're not going to be able to get an offensive rebound. Like you said, they're too deep under the basket where they can't recover from there. And then it's almost like the team already has like a 3-on-2 break or something like that they're already getting back. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It should be interesting to see kind of how they play. I'm not. Who do you think is going to guard Perry Ellis? I know, like I said, the game's in about an hour and a half. Is that going to be a Layman or is that going to be a Carter? I heard earlier that they were saying Carter. And that got me very, very afraid because Robert's not the best on defense. I think he could hold his own, but I think Perry's going to get his, 15 to 16 off him.
Yeah, it's tough. I think he depends who else they have on the floor. I can't say that I know Kansas is inside and out, but I think Carter guards inside well enough. It's when he has to go chase people out on the perimeter that he gets into trouble, and when they run a lot of screens and the switches, he kind of screws up. We'll see. Whoever guards him is going to have to be focused. I hope it's Jake Layman, but I don't know. We'll probably need him on somebody else. I mean, Kansas has got a lot of guys who can do damage. So
yeah, they're like every other Kansas team that we've seen since 2002. They have weapons everywhere. where it doesn't really matter who you're guarding because it seems like they always have someone open who can score. Last year was Oubre Jr. A few years ago it was Wiggins. A few years before that it was the Morris twins. They're just a dangerous team. They're one of those teams that's always there. They were like Maryland was, where you could pencil them into the Sweet 16 every year.
Yeah, It's halftime in this game. I might fire up Periscope. This could be
if we got any
lost, we might get like 0 people, 0 questions. People are pretty. I mean, there's 2 games to watch, so I wouldn't imagine. Yeah. But we'll see what we get here. Let's shoot the shit about Terps, hoops, etc.
Yeah, I mean, if we got any questions.
I haven't used this thing in forever, but it should be live. I think it's on Twitter.
Yeah, I got rid of Periscope. I did watch the Prez in Tico, Texas.
We got some people flowing in, so
that was very strange. All right, yeah, if they got questions, go for it.
Yeah, shoot away with some questions. We got halftime in Nova Miami, and we're just kind of sitting around having a few beers, waiting for this Maryland game to start. It's 8 o'clock right now. I feel like the game is still 3 weeks away.
Yeah, I hate these 9:40 starts. I know Nate blogged it today, but it's unbelievable, especially being in Louisville. There's no reason for it to start at 8 or at 9:40.
It's ridiculous. I don't understand why a game should start at 6 and another like 8:30. That's a very manageable way to go about it.
Yeah,
if you're really worried about your advertiser dollars, you might lose a couple on the front end if you play at 6, but I feel like it would be nowhere near as much as you'd lose playing at 10 p.m. and losing a lot of people at the back end of your last game.
No, I agree. And like I said, I hate to sound like an old man and, I need to go to bed, but people got work and shit in the morning. I can't be up till 12:15. And if the Terps win, I'm going to be up till, 1 a.m. I'm not going to be able to fall asleep after that.
Yeah, I just realized I've had, I realized that I had my earphones in so nobody could hear our conversation whatsoever.
Oh, nice.
Isn't Nate pretty fucking lame? That's a great question. Is that even a question? Whatever. Anybody got some Terps questions or hoops, or we could even talk O's a little bit.
O's, yeah, Caps.
That is a question from Stu Lazy Eye. I feel like Nate's which term had the biggest dick? We talking this year's team or any year's team?
If we're going this year, I'm 100% saying Diamond.
You're going with Diamond. I think DeMonte Dow's got a real big hog. That's just me.
Okay. I could say it wouldn't surprise me. Diamond.
Maybe Checo. I mean, you're just going with the height thing, then that's the answer you're going to get.
Bender probably is a sneaky long hog.
What country is he?
I don't know about sneaky, but what do you say?
What country is he from again? Is he like Serbia and all that?
Czechoslovakia, something like that, somewhere in that region. I know his brother's going to be a top 5 pick, but
yeah,
I know that. While we're waiting on questions, I saw in the Draft Express mock. Did you see their latest one? Diamond 23, Mello 35, Layman 45, Carter 51.
I did see that 2 of them were taken by the Celtics, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's a mock draft, but
that's why I can't really buy into mock drafts because it's guys like us sitting, in an office or a basement picking where they think they're going to go before these guys have even worked out for NBA scouts. And with that whole Kentucky, I think that new rule is Kentucky is their entire team is going to go to the draft or put their names into the draft. I expect Maryland to do the same thing. Pretty much everyone except for Varun and Andrew Terrell maybe.
I saw a headline on ESPN that said Lakers take Ben Simmons number 1 overall. It's ridiculous to speculate with specific teams at this point because the lottery is the lottery. It's not completely random, but I don't know. NBA mock, I'm not a big fan of the NFL mock drafts either. Mostly because I think they're always way off, but
yeah, I mean, there's just so much that could change from now until then. Like my buddy was telling me that he's a Sixers fan. He saw a mock draft that had them taking Simmons number 1. Their next pick, I don't know where their next pick is, but it had them taking Diamond, and then the pick after that had them taking Denzel Valentine. Obviously, that's going to be a great draft. But is it going to happen that way? There's no chance that's going to happen like that.
Yeah.
So these things are, I don't know. They're paid. They're trying to get clicks with their projections, I think. So.
Yeah, it looks like the Periscope is pretty dead at this point, as we figured it would be, I guess.
Hey,
so,
it happens.
I think we're going to shut it down.
Oh, good. No worries. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it seems like forever until the game starts, but I don't know. I've felt more confident about this game as it kind of went on, and I don't know why, but I don't know. I feel like Maryland can definitely make some noise. We'll say that.
Yeah, I think once you get further and further away from the emotions that go through struggling to beat a Hawaii, the more you can just kind of look at the big picture and realize that they were a great team all year, and they have as much talent as anybody. And if they just show up and put a good effort out there, that they're going to be at least in the game at the end. So.
Yeah, I mean, what was it, 20, 25, or how long, when the season started? 20 weeks ago, something like that, 15 weeks? If you would have said Maryland's going to be one of the last 16 teams out there, you would have said, okay, I 100% think that. Now that they are, I mean, 2 weeks ago, people were saying this team's going to lose the first-round game.
It's true.
And now, I mean, they're fighting for a spot at the Elite Eight with a chance, if they win, to, whichever one of these teams they face, Miami or Nova, I like my chances against them too. So, why can't this team go to the Final Four? Why can't Kansas have an off night? I think they could easily – if Jake Keat's up again for 27, if Diamond puts in, 15 to 20, and Melo's the Melo that we thought we were going to get and has kind of showed himself the last few games, I think we could easily be back here talking in a week, talking about a Final Four team.
I can assure you that Kansas, when the bracket came out, we were the team that they're hoping not to see in the Sweet 16.
I think I saw like that initial draft show, that 2-hour show. They said, who's Kansas's biggest threats in their region, and it was Miami and Maryland. So sure. Bill Self is not overlooking Maryland. It's not like he's looking forward to the Elite Eight already. So it's just if Turgeon just has to get these guys to come out hot. I mean, it seems like they haven't had a really hot start since Nebraska, but that was Nebraska, and me, you, and 3 other bloggers could have had a hot start against them.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see which team comes out. I know, they're putting out these videos. They're fun videos. They're having fun at practice doing the half court shots. I don't know if you saw Turgeon hitting his half court bounce shot.
I did see that.
Stuff like that. I don't know. You want to do stuff like that, you got to come out and win.
Yeah, they seem loose. That's a good thing.
Yeah. It seemed like they loosened up that second half against Hawaii after number 11, Quincy Smith. I think he kind of got some fire started underneath them. I guess we could thank him. We could send him some flowers or an edible arrangement for getting the boys hyped up. I know he got in our boy Andrew Terrell's face, and then tried to mix it up with Suleiman apparently after the game. Not one of the guys I'd want to go after, but teach their own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't.
We're just gonna sit and wait, and I'm probably gonna die by the time the game starts. So
I posted a Vine of the guy from Step Brothers throwing up at the dinner table, saying I'm gonna throw up, because that's how I felt all day.
And there's just so many different gifts that you could think of that could go through be some of the emotions I've felt today. I woke up, I knew that it was 14 hours until game time when I woke up, and it's just been so painful to sit in a cube all day and just watch the clock, and didn't get anything done all day. It's just so nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I agree, and I can't imagine, how the guys feel how the team feels having to wake up. They could go through a practice, have a whole waiting period, have another walkthrough, and then the game, which is how much time is in between this. So, I guess we hope they pull it out, and we hope that we're back here talking next week about the Terps in the Final Four. Do you got anything else before the game?
God help us.
Cross your toes, pray to whoever you pray to, light whatever candles you want, and at about probably 12:15, 12:30, I guess we'll know what we're doing next week. If we're fully on the baseball season, or if I'm still ready to rock, my Terps gear.
I do want to say this is like the game. This is the biggest game in 13 years for this program. They win this game, I feel very, very, very comfortable saying they're going all the way.
I agree.
I
agree with that.
Like the one that just kind of gets everything right. This is a great opportunity. This is kind of like, it's not a great comparison. Maybe like a little bit of Red Sox Yankees, like the Red Sox just being down the dumps, and then you have to like come over that hump in such a enthusiastic and like awesome way to get there. It could be one of those moments. I don't know. That was a shitty comparison, but whatever.
Who said it? Ric Flair, to be the best, you got to beat the best.
It's also true. It's a wise man.
I think this is a perfect example, and I agree with you. I think if they can beat Kansas, I think Turgeon turns around and looks at that field and says, "We can beat Duke, we can beat Oregon, we can beat Miami. We can beat any of these guys." And I really think they can. I don't think he's throwing just throwing shit at the wall. I think he believes that they can beat them, and I think if Maryland, if they can put this game together, I think that they'll have that kind of confidence behind themselves to win. So,
yep.
Yeah. Let's hope they do it. Yeah. I guess, we can go on to a little bit of the Orioles. They had I don't care about their spring training wins and losses. They had a walk-off win today.
Oh, that's nice. That's fun.
Yeah. Joey, my boy, Joey Ricard, or Ricard. Do you know how to say his name?
In my head, I say Ricard, but...
See, that's what I was saying, but then I heard on the radio people saying Rickard. But I'm going to go with Ricard. He had a walk-off hit. I know Paul Janisch went 3 for 3 yesterday. And like I wrote in the blog yesterday, I'm not one to, jump all over spring training stats because we all saw Jake Fox a few years ago and his 10 home runs. We saw how money he was. But, we'll look at some of the stats there. I know Darren O'Day has an ERA. I think it's around 10. Miguel Gonzalez got his ERA down to 12. It's like 12.6, I think.
Yeah, really nice outing there. Was it 4 runs and 4 innings? And
something like that.
Really great.
Four innings, 3 hits, or 3 runs, I think. It was something around there. He still looks like garbage. We can't really sugarcoat that. And now, I wrote it yesterday about Bundy. Bundy's looking good. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to.
Nobody wants to jinx it.
No.
I will be the guy to just throw myself in there. If that needs to be what needs to happen, I will happily be the guy to say, hey, it's time for Bundy to realize his potential. It's time to throw him in the fire. I've been saying it for like 2 months.
Yeah.
Bundy needs to be in the rotation. Doesn't need to be at the beginning of the year. You don't want to. If you put him in the rotation right away, he's going to burn himself out, or at least reach whatever arbitrary innings cap that they've made for him. But the picture for the full season should be to get him into the rotation by probably June. I think that's what I've said in the past few weeks, and I feel like now that he's pitched and his arm has stayed on and he's looking, pretty solid, we finally even had Buck come out and say, he said, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but getting him in the rotation would be, I forget what the exact quote was, but it was something along the lines of it would be a really nice thing if you could get him in there.
Yeah, and I'll be the first to say you've been at the front of that train. You've been driving that train for the last few months. Give Bundy a start, let him start. And I think now we have to kind of take that into consideration because with how bad Miguel's looked. And like I said, I'm going to expect Miguel, especially with this whole Gossman thing, him probably going on the DL or at least missing his first start. I know they don't need their 5th starter until like a week into the season.
How does the DL work when it overlaps into the regular season? Is there like a retroactive date that you set?
I think Rock. I heard Rock on the radio driving home that I think they can turn back the DL his DL move to. I forget when it is, but they can move it back, and so he can. I think he's only going to miss 1 start, and he'll be back for pretty much that first week. I forget what the date is.
It's not a big deal then.
Yeah, and they were saying, whether he misses 1 start now, it really doesn't matter. But I'm growing more and more. I'm jumping on the bandwagon of I think that we're going to see Bundy start a game. And like you said, and then when Buck came out and said it, I said, okay, well, it's pretty much going to happen because with the way Miguel is going, I think Buck will give him a certain amount of starts. But once he hits a point, if Bundy's sitting there, you got to give him a start. Miguel's
It was
pitched.
never a Gonzalez thing for me either. I think it was just all about the potential that he has and the fact that if he doesn't start, if you just kind of pigeonhole him into being a reliever all year, he'll never eventually like learn and become a starter. You just gotta throw him into the flames as a starter eventually, and see how he does and let him work it out at the major league level.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, let him take his bumps and his bruises up here, and we'll see what we got with him. Because, I mean, he was penciled in as he's going to be he's going to be an ace, he's going to be an all-star, he's going to be a potential Cy Young candidate. And then it was, oh well, maybe he can be a 2 or a 3, and then it's, well, now he's in the bullpen and he's stuck there, which isn't necessarily the case. He may start out there.
I don't think they were writing him off as a starter like in the long run. They were just acknowledging, okay, he's not ready to be a starter, and be at the major league level this year. So everyone just resigned to the idea that he's going to be in the bullpen all year. And I said, hey, it's not like our rotation is stacked, but even with that, if you want him to be the starter that you drafted him to be, that you want him to be someday, he's got to get into the rotation sooner rather than later at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, and, I'm not sure why we're not – I guess if they're trying to keep his arm fresh or, limit his innings, I'm not sure why we're not seeing any starts from him in spring training, when it would be nice to see.
Like I said, you can't rack up the innings early in the year, but
yeah,
I think that they should – well, ideal situation is that he'd pitch in the bullpen for maybe a month or two, and then he'd have a – mysterious injury, or he'd have like a little flare up of something, so that he would go on the DL and then go on a rehab stint. And with the rehab stint, he could then throw longer outings, or even he could throw in simulated spring training or whatever, simulated games, and then work his way up, work up his his stamina a little bit. And the stamina really shouldn't be much of a problem given the reputation he has as a workout freak.
Yeah, as a horse.
He's a horse. He's got the legs. He's got the hips. He's got the core and everything. So I don't think that should be really a big problem to get him into that kind of shape. So.
Yeah, like I said, I'm fully on team. Let's give Bundy a starter or two. So I guess we just got to hope that his arm stays on. I know he's been pretty solid since he gave up. I think his ERA is still I want to say it's like mid threes. I looked it up yesterday. But since that his first pitch of the spring was a jack, I think he's been pretty solid since there. So, he's not blowing you away with the stats or anything. He's not striking out 9 in 7 innings, but I think he's getting people out. I think he only has 2 walks on the year, or in his spring training. I think his WHIP is under 1. So, and these aren't major league guys. I understand he's not pitching in Camden Yards or these major league ballparks. And I know, we're not supposed to make much of this, but it's good to see. And at least for him, it's a good thing for his mental psyche.
Mm-hmm.
To get people out and to not be walking people and to have command and control of his pitches. I think that's what he needs, and that's just the first step for him to kind of take this next step. So then maybe being a successful reliever, and then from being a successful reliever, making his first start, then making his second start, and then getting comfortable being in the rotation every game. Or every year, so we'll see. And like I said, I think he has this opportunity with Gossman going on the DL. And rotation isn't good. People have been saying that all off season. It's kind of still a question mark right now, which no one really knows who's slotted where, who's going to pitch when.
It's a question mark, but the question as to whether or not they're going to be a good rotation has already been answered. They're not going to be a good rotation.
No.
It's how unbad can we be as pitchers?
Yeah.
The idea. How much can we hedge our pitching against our hitting?
It's going to be, and it's also going to be how well the bullpen can hold up.
That's true.
So, which again, Bundy's likely going to be a weapon there. So it's going to be how can O'Day pitch on back to back to back? Can Britton can he make these saves back to back? How can Brock hold up? How can Michael Givens in his first full year, how can he hold up? So I know, like I said earlier, O'Day's had a rough spring training, but it's easier for relievers to have a bad.
Well, I think
for their ERA to skyrocket.
he had a rough outing today. And yeah, I think you're trying to say is like relievers have a bad outing and then they have 8 good ones and bring their ERA back down to the mean or whatever it really should be. And then it's kind of it's a big jump and a fall, and yeah. So
I think, and like we were talking about Gossman going on the DL, a guy who I think has opened a lot of eyes, and we all knew he was there. Tyler Wilson, this spring training has been very good. I know he pitched today. I think he went 3 innings, they said. I think his ERA is, where is it? I think it's like a 2-something. He hasn't won any, he hasn't lost any, which I don't care about that. But he's been very good. I think he has 2.29 ERA in 12 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts, a WHIP of 1.05.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's if Gossman goes on the DL, I think there's your 5th starter right there, and we'll see what we can do with him. And he showed some form in the year. That starts. I want to say he had a start against Oakland. I can't remember if it was the home or away, but I think he looked really good there. He was just one of those guys who had the Norfolk bus ticket and was coming up and back.
I think that they've been cognizant of that this offseason enough where it's not going to be a regular thing. So we're hoping for a little more consistency. Gossman has said outright that it's really kind of fucked with his psyche. Oh my God, that was so weird. Weird bounced off this rim and into this weird net that they have here.
Give us a score update on this game.
51-42 Villanova with 16.5 left in the second.
51-42?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Nova's up 9.
Now, okay.
Oklahoma is bundled.
Sorry, go on.
Oklahoma is just lapping A&M right now.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, they're up. A&M was up early, and now Oklahoma's just boat racing them. They're up by 16 right now. Not even yet.
And then, so we have that game, we have the Maryland game, and then freaking Duke and Oregon. That starts at what, 10:07, something like that?
In the Maryland game, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And I want to say that they're out in Anaheim playing, right?
That makes some sense at least.
Yeah. So is this where the A&M Oklahoma game is? Is that Anaheim?
Yep.
Why? I don't get it. Why put those games? Why not put the Maryland game at this time? And then I don't know. I don't get it. It's stupid advertising money and all that shit.
Yep.
Yeah. No. Like we were saying, Tyler Wilson. I think he's gonna. If Gossman ends up going on the DL, and I think if they take precaution with Gossman's shoulder, I think they will put him there. Because I think he can still make 30 to 33 starts. For the O's this year, even with him missing a week or 1 start. I think Wilson's gonna be the guy. Probably next in line after that's a guy like Vance Worley or Mike Wright. Then I know they were also saying that it looks like Mattis is going to go on the DL. Whatever.
I did see that they were looking at Kyle Loesch, and Lincecum is working out whenever he's working out. I still haven't seen much about that, but
yeah, he was throwing at those secret locations. But you got to think if they sign him tomorrow, he's not going to be ready to pitch opening day, will he? Do you think that they would throw him in there?
I wouldn't put Duquette past signing anybody. So
yeah,
any of those types of guys, that is.
Yeah, the guys who they're already established. We kind of know where we're getting with them.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, shit, we're less than 12 days away. Less than, I think, is 11 today, right? Correct? Maybe.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Not next Monday. It's the Monday after that.
Correct.
Yeah, opening day. I'll be at Camden Yards. I think you have stuff to do.
I've got. You
got some stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it seems like just yesterday we were talking about, what is the opening of spring training mean and all that stuff, pitchers and catchers reporting. And now we're here, and then I guess by the time we blink, it'll be all the All-Star break, and then after that, it'll be the end of the season. So.
Yeah, and we have a hockey playoffs to worry about between.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot. The Caps have been so good. They clinched playoffs 2 weeks ago. They clinched their division 2 nights ago, I think.
In the past month or so, and by shaky, I mean only winning, 2/3 of their games.
Yeah, they've won 8 out of 10.
Yeah, they're 6-3-1 in their last 10, and people are like, "Oh my God, this team is headed towards a first-round loss."
They lost that game, that laugher to the Penguins, and people said, "Oh, here we go again." this is the first round Caps. It's like, well, there's still like a week and a half left. There's like 2 weeks. So
Yeah, Nate and I were actually talking about that today. Like, who would be our dream on our way to the Cup Finals? Who would be like our dream knockout order? And
probably be like,
and this is
I would
why
go like,
this is why I had that Red Sox Yankees thing in my brain as a comparison. I already used it today. It was for the Caps and the Rangers. I feel like the Caps have to beat the Rangers along their way to a Cup because they just need to beat that demon. They need to, and I feel like that'll be like the jump start that they need to like kind of give them that over the hump feeling that pushes them forward and gets them where they need to go. So I would love to beat the Flyers first round and just like sweep them, just embarrass them, make Jordy cry like a little bitch. And then I think the Rangers and the Penguins are scheduled to match up for the in the first round right now, and that obviously could change. But either of those teams in the second round would be fantastic.
I was going to go.
Those are the three teams I would want: the Flyers, Penguins, and Rangers.
I can see that. I would rather go have the Flyers miss the playoffs, just because I think it would be awesome to rub it in Flyers fans' face. Beat the Islanders first round, and obviously the matchups would have to switch. Probably beat the Rangers second round and kind of get over that hump right there, and then just absolutely torch Sid and the Penguins in the Eastern Conference Championships. Yeah, I think I would enjoy beating Crosby more in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I think so too. I would love. Well, I wouldn't love it because that's actually a really excruciating way to go about a win. But to beat the Rangers in 7 games would be really fun. Like if that goes down. But if you told me that the only way, or like if you told me it was going to go to 7 games, I'd be like, dude, you're killing me. Like I can't go through another Game 7 against the Rangers.
Yeah, I feel like we've read that book way too many times, and no matter even if I know how it's going to end, in the back of my mind, I'm gonna say, shit, it's gonna be a 1-0 goal where the Rangers score in the 18th, with 2 minutes left in the third period of Game 7.
I guess what I was trying to say is that like if you gave me the options of a win in 7 games or the series ends in less than 7 games and you don't know whether it's going to be a win or a loss, I would have a really tough time deciding. Because, like, the feeling all day today for this game, it's just like Game 7 day feeling.
Yeah.
But the thing, I think Game 7 day feeling is even worse because you sit around all day after being like, well, the one thing about a Game 7 is that somebody was on the ropes the game before and survived. Yeah. So you've already gone through a pretty traumatic experience, like one way or another, whether it's you trying to deliver the knockout punch or
you trying to come back.
I went to Game 6 against the Rangers last year, and it was awful. It was so awful because if you remember, the Caps were absolutely buzzing in the third period. And for like 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes of the game, I think they had like 15 shots, and the Rangers like didn't even get a shot on goal and only had possession for like 1 of the 10 minutes, and the Caps just couldn't push it in that last goal. And I remember walking out of the arena like, this series is fucking over. Like that, I just watched the season end. So you go through that whole Game 6 feeling, and then a couple days later you have to wait all day, and it's terrible. It's so excruciating waiting for those Game 7s. So
I remember, I think I was watching. This is when I like realized. I think it was the Lakers Celtics finals. I don't know if it was like 2009 or something like that. I think the Celtics were up 3-2 going against the Lakers, and then the Lakers won Game 6, and I said, "There's no way in hell the Celtics win a Game 7." And I want to look this up, the percentage of you winning or of a team winning a series after they win Game 6, because I feel like if you win Game 6, there's like a 90% chance you're winning Game 7. No matter where it goes, no matter where you're playing, it's just you have that mindset. You have, all right, well, we already beat them with our backs against the ropes. Let's just go do it again.
I can think of so many Game 6 Cap series that are the opposite.
Where they lose, and you're like, all right, fuck, that's it.
Steckles done. 6 overtime goal, and I was like, Game 7 at home, yeah! Like, so pumped that we were going to beat the Penguins at home, and then they lost by like a dozen. It felt like.
Yeah, that game was over like the end of the first period.
Yeah.
I think that was rough, but yeah, I mean, if you were saying a game 7 guaranteed win or less than 7, coin flip, I don't know. I'm getting older, man. I can't handle these 7-game series where it's do or die every time. Especially now with I don't know if I'll ever see a championship again.
That's really bad, man.
that's where I'm at right now. I mean, I guess going into the season, we thought I think we had already penciled in the Terps as a champion, but Caps are looking like our next big opportunity there because I don't think the Wizards.
Yeah, we're right there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're there. They have all the chances. So, unless the Orioles do it by scoring 12 runs a game this season, giving up 10.
That's wishful thinking, but we're gonna still wish.
Yeah. All right. I guess this is do or die time. You got anything else?
I got nothing. I'm still alive right now. I said there's a good chance I might die by the time this game starts, which is half of that joke is me legitimately just like feeling my heart's gonna burst out of my chest, and the other half of that is the fact that I might die of old age by the time this game starts. So I think I told Stooley to take out a life insurance plan on me because he asked me what the odds are that I would die, and I was like, Bovada might not have it, but I know there are life insurance plans out there.
That's sure. It's definitely gonna be a nerve-wracking game, and I'm hoping that it's not a game that's over by halftime. So then we have the entire second half of people just giving a shit, telling us how bad the Terps are, because in looking back on it, they're not a bad team. I know people have given them shit all year, especially the last few weeks of the season, talking about how bad they are and how bad they choked and shit like that. But I mean, you go back and you look at it; they're not a bad team. They didn't. I don't know if it's not that they didn't mesh as well as we thought they would. I know who was it, Mark Titus on the pardon whatever it is, pardon my take, saying that it seems like all 5 guys on the Terps hate each other. They don't hate each other.
He just isn't. This is a knock on him directly or anything. Like, I have no problem with him. I think he does great work. I hate when national writers that they watch so many games that they can't really focus at all on any one team, so they don't really know the ins and outs of that one team.
Mm-hmm.
And they make like an overarching comment about a group like that. That's just incorrect.
Because if you want, all right, let's think about this. A national analyst, they're probably not watching the game against Rutgers or their game against Northwestern. They probably watch the Georgetown game, which was the second game of the year, where Maryland struggled for 35 minutes. They probably watched the UNC game, which Maryland had a terrible first 5 minutes and then played a decent 35 minutes and easily could have won that game. I think so. They probably watched the UConn game, which was a game that they struggled. They pulled it together the last few minutes. They probably saw highlights from when they lost to Michigan, probably saw highlights when they lost to Minnesota, and then the Big Ten games and their games in the tournament.
Right. It's and they're never like fully in. They're only watching the games. They're not watching Jesus Christ. The Terps are getting off the bus right now. I just saw Kyle Tarp. That dude is scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought, but whatever.
Yeah, no, you're good. No worries. Yeah, I guess we can wrap this up real quick. I know we both. I don't know. I got nothing else to say. I'm just terrified, and the game starts in about an hour, a little more. And I know I've said it 10 times this game, but I guess we're hoping, we're praying, we're crossing toes and fingers, and we're hoping for a Maryland win. I'm hoping for a nice Maryland 7 to 9 point win. I think that would keep me calm.
Each of these 2 games right now are double-digit leads right now, so like.
Oh, God damn it! All right, well, then. But the higher seed is using up all their luck in these 2 games, so they're not going to have any left for the Terps game. Is exactly how I'm taking this.
Fair enough. That's a fair take.
Yeah. All right. Like I said, I think that's all we got for this week. Next week we'll be back, hopefully talking about a Maryland Final Four run. O's will be, days away from opening day at Camden Yards. The Caps will probably, I don't know, they'll probably find their way into a first round bye somehow. Ovi may have 65 goals at that point. I don't know. We'll see. All right. If this is it for Banks and I, if we die in this game tonight, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Oh my God. See ya.